In the last 5 years, we have not thrown any biodegradable material away.
Oh boy.
You can look at over 300 tons metric fertilizer is under the ground.
Oh, you're probably even standing on fertilizer.
Yeah, for sure. I do think that we can do reasonable business and still save the environment and about our climate smart practices. All the plants you see that are green, not use a single chemicalized fertilizer. Somebody say, how do you connect your kitchen to your farm? Fermenting food waste, eating fertilizer from that. A channel for healing through food. Use things like dawa. I think I wanted some kind of freedom.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today I am not in my backyard garden. I am in this beautiful place called the Eco Clubhouse. This place is located in the capital of the Savannah region, Damongo. On the outside, the Eco Clubhouse looks like a place you can just come grab some food and drinks. But on the inside, they have a lot going on here. Today, I was fortunate to meet the owner, Mr. Martin, and he's willing to spend few minutes of his time to share with us how he started this place, what he did before he started this place, and the many plans and the many things he has going on in this club. They grow their own food, they manage some chicken, they make their own fertilizer. In fact, Mr. Martin has a lot of mind-blowing and eye-opening things going on here, and I have documented all of these things. I hope you will stick around to see what Mr. Martin has to share with us. He has brilliant ideas, amazing ideas, so do stick around and let's see and hear what he has to share with us. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, probably what you did before you started Eco, and what you have going on in Eco?
Okay. So my full name is Martin Yelibora. I am the founder of the Eco Clubhouse, and proud to my establishing the Eco Clubhouse. I have worked with different institutions. I've worked in the government sector, but I've also worked in the NGO sector.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, I've always worked within the space of the environment, and even in school, I offered renewable natural resource management. And, to the master's level, I did environmental management and policy.
Oh, okay.
So all in all, you can see that
Yeah.
I'm somebody who has always interfaced with the environment.
Yeah.
So 2019, I transitioned from the NGO settings. I had worked under certain USAID projects. I had worked with Care International, amongst others. But then I think I wanted some kind of freedom to live a dream and a passion that had always been with me, which I found very difficult to put a lid on. And that was to have a space that imbibes conservation, that imbibes well-being, that imbibes healing. But you have to get money, you have to get resources to establish your own facility. So I had to work very hard, basically use my salary to establish the Eco Clubhouse. Then I knew I would be able to transition from working for somebody in inverted commerce to living my dream, a dream that embraces everybody. So that's how come I gradually transitioned in 2019 to work as the founder of the Eco Clubhouse and initially as the CEO. So since then I've continued to work very hard to make sure that the tenets of my dream all come to be. Now look at the Eco Clubhouse beyond a restaurant. Okay. Look at it as a safe haven for both human beings and animals and plants. It embraces everything. It embraces the tenets of social, economic, and environment. And I do think that we can do reasonable business and still save the environment and still heal the environment. So that's how come that the Eco Clubhouse embraces different facets. So for example, we have the restaurant where we believe in healthy eating. For example, it is important that I mention that the Eco Clubhouse, we don't use monosodium.
Wow.
We don't use MSG.
Wow.
We basically use things like shrimps, oysters, amongst others, to create something that gives you that umami taste. So here we don't use Maggi. So, and also we focus largely on indigenous ingredients, local ingredients. So here we even grow some plants that go back to our kitchen. Okay, we have the dandelion salad, and we know what dandelion does to your well-being. You can see dandelion all across. We have lemongrass, and we have a recipe called the ginger freedom tea. It's an incredible tea that you drink and you are on fire, on good fire. Okay.
Very true.
Yes. So
I tried it, so I do have a fair idea of exactly what you're saying.
Very well.
It's really, really nice.
Very well. The word is invigorating. It's really invigorating. So you have the ginger tea. But then beyond this, we use things like dawa dawa. We modify it in ways that people can enjoy. There are some of the things like TZ. We just don't go for refined maize. No, we believe in using the millet, the sorghum. You know, we believe in enriched food. We believe in going back to the fundamentals and healing ourselves through food. So look at the Eco Club House in terms of the restaurant, even to be a channel for healing through food. Let's look at it in that way. But beyond the restaurant, we have, of course, a space for rental that can take up to about 150 people, and it's an eco hall with the ambience, which is incredible, with some stones designs there that is appeasing, that is not intimidating. So we have the hall which people come to rent for their events and their programs. Then we have a space, recreational space that children can run around. We try to make it as safe as possible. We try to make the environment welcoming. So we have a small recreational space that children can run around. Then we do what we call outdoor dining. We believe, and remember COVID, the advice was that let's do outdoor. So let's have fresh air. So at Eco, we focus on outdoor dining. And you can see how the patio is like. You can see the ambience. You can see the beautiful writings, etc. You are eating in peace. Okay, so it's a dining experience that is unique and that is outdoor. But even beyond that, all of the space, which is about 1 acre, is available for people to sit and dine. And nature, beyond all of this, there's nature all around you. We have different plants, etc. And I'll tell anybody, if you want to have the full effect of Eco, the grand effect of Eco, be at Eco before 9 o'clock in the morning and sit at where I call the Eco Shrine. This is where you connect to nature. This is where you meditate. This is where you can feel the sounds of the birds. This is where you can see the richness of the green. And this is where you can find a lot of healing. So the Eco Shrine is my personal space where I connect to nature. And I'll ask everybody to experience the Eco Shrine. Most importantly, we will now go to an aspect that many people fail to see when they come to Eco. That is about our climate smart practices. So at the Eco Clubhouse, I believe in the environment being intact. So look at the trees you see around. Some of these trees have been here before I came to establish the Eco. But I did believe that you don't have to flatten the ground before you build. Whichever trees do not obstruct your construction, let them be. So you come to the Eco and you think the Eco has been around for 10 years, 20 years. No, we are barely 5 years old, but you can see the environment is enhanced, it's rich with plants. And these plants also welcome birds. So whilst you are here, sometimes you can hear the sound of birds, etc. There's multiple experiences. There are different trees.
Chickens,
exactly.
Birds,
Yes,
so
you see
many
everything
things
around.
running around.
And most importantly that you should note is that all the plants we have here is not just the aesthetics. No. Each plant has a purpose for which we put it in.
Wow.
It's either healing, it's either helping to ward off snakes, or something unique that you love to hear about. So if I were to take you through what these plants do, I think we will be here the next 24 hours. Okay? so that's an aspect that people don't see. But then we have a climate smart agricultural aspect where we help people to understand how to cultivate in a very reasonable manner, in an eco-friendly manner, how we train women to be able to have that ability, that skill, to be able to farm and be productive, more productive for society even under their constraints. In line with the climate smart agriculture, one connection we should look at is a connection between the Eco Clubhouse kitchen and our farming. Somebody say, how do you connect your kitchen to your farm? So we have developed innovative ways of fermenting food waste and creating fertilizer from that. So I can tell you that, for example, in the last 5 years, we have not thrown any biodegradable material away.
Oh boy.
All are in the ground.
That's a lot of saving.
That's a lot of savings. And people benefit from that. People can sometimes get it for free. We ourselves are using it to cultivate. So all the plants you see that are green have not used a single chemicalized fertilizer. Indeed, you can, in terms of estimates, you can look at over 300 metric tons of fertilizer is under the ground.
Oh, so we are probably even starting on fertilizer.
Yeah, for sure. There has been fertilizer all over. I've built over some of them. Yes,
some rich fertilizer.
Yes, I've built over them because I have too much fertilizer that I cannot use within my space. Okay, so the conversion of food waste to fertilizer is one particular practice that anybody can adapt. What we have done beyond the usual is to use an inoculant to speed up the production of the organic fertilizer. So like I always say, the usual conventional compost will take between 6 months and a year for you to get a fully prepared fertilizer. And even with that, you are going to lose about 30% of the nutrients.
Okay.
Because there are discharges, there are communications with the environment, and they are turning it, there's heat, etc. So you would have a lot of the nutrients being a significant amount being discharged into the environment in terms of greenhouse gases. Okay. So, but when you compare this to what we have developed, which is the fermentation compost, you basically retain 100% of the nutrients.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
It is. And this is an anaerobic process. It means that you are using bacteria that doesn't necessarily need oxygen.
Okay.
And by doing that, you are able to prevent anything like stench, etc. And because also the fermentation pits are dark in the ground, you are able to manage space.
Yeah.
And you can walk around them, etc. Even sit around where the pit is, and there's no stench, nothing that is obnoxious. Okay. And you are able to transform even this food waste into liquid fertilizer. So the Eco Clubhouse is just beyond, again, the restaurants that people know about. Then we are able to use this fertilizer alongside charcoal, which we call biochar, to create soil substrates that indeed can double the speed of production of any crop. Biochar is charcoal used to support agriculture. But notably, you are able to lock in the carbon so you don't discharge it into the environment. Beyond that, this biochar is even enhanced in terms of value by charging it with liquid fertilizer from our fertilizer pits. So our fertilizer pits are called fermentation pits. So these generate fertilizer that we can use to charge the biochar. So the biochar becomes something magnificent that can restore soils. So for example, if you look at the case of Galamsey, that most of the soils have been damaged, how can we salvage these soils? We can salvage these soils using what we call biochar. And you can enhance this biochar with microbes and also with fertilizer. So within the shortest possible time, people can plant within these areas, and yet you don't have toxins being loaded into our crops. So this is one very important thing we do at Eco in a small scale, but possibly we can replicate and scale up. Okay. Beyond this, I have not mentioned in this interaction, but the Eco Clubhouse is also connected to another business called Organic Green Ventures Limited. Now, Organic Greens Ventures Limited is strictly a wellness business. So we target healing, we target ailments, we target diseases that we can use botanicals to treat, or in other words, if you want, herbs to treat. So the Organic Green Ventures, which is directly connected to the Eco Clubhouse in terms of the ideals, has a lot of supplements that's supposed to restore people's health. We have supplements that come from activated charcoal. We have supplements that come from special kinds of beans that have always been in our traditional communities and have been used to heal. We have transformed these and added value to them and created products from them. We have also tapped on nature to take certain botanicals and help to treat pain. So there are some of the pain conditions that you necessarily don't need to take painkillers. You just apply certain herbal extracts to the points of pain, and within minutes or seconds, the pain has disappeared. So there are lots of supplements under the auspices of Organic Green Ventures Limited that we also produce to help people in terms of their well-being, in terms of agriculture, amongst others. These things are interconnected, and with time, I think I would also explain things in relation to agriculture, things that we do in relation to agriculture, like the poultry sector. We have done innovations using local resources, using, for example, the grinding mill chaff, the rice bran that is thrown away and burnt. These still have very useful nutrients in them that we can use bacteria to break down and transform into poultry feed. So, for example, I would say, why would we say the cost of poultry feed is skyrocketing? Well, indeed, we have natural resources, we have residue, we have waste that we can transform into animal feed. A question I'll ask, for example, why do we throw away the eggshells? Then to later on go to buy calcium-related minerals to come and put into our poultry feed. Why would we do that? If moringa has so many uncountable nutrients, why don't we incorporate moringa, which we have competitive advantage of, into our poultry feeds? Why don't we do that? Okay, why don't we use available bacteria, that some of which have been used to prepare yogurt, etc.? Why don't we use it to ferment waste and transform it into animal feed? Can we pull together waste from restaurants and create cheaper versions of animal feed, yet that are efficient and effective to help our poultry industry? This is one aspect I think I would like to visit, and we've started doing some poultry feed samples for people to try and then give comments. So far, the reviews have been spectacular. As you go around, you see the biochar heaps. Yeah, you see even soil structures that we build called the bow garden.
Oh, so I'll get to see all of
exactly.
that. Okay.
You see that.
Oh,
we have what we call the bow garden. The bow garden in Dagari means the whole garden, where you are mixing charcoal with fermented food waste with neem to create a bed, a sunken bed that basically you can continue to grow on it continuously for 5 years without applying fertilizer.
Well, so it means if you don't even have the space, if you don't have, I know there are lots of people who want to go into growing their own food, sure, but they're always talking about, I don't have the space. But then it means that with this, you can still plant, because if that's a space you can grow in a number of things for over how many years?
For 5 years.
Over 5 years.
5 years.
Then you don't really have to dig up a lot of places. You can just dig up these mini holes, and then you can plant a variety of things there.
Exactly. So by extension, imagine the rural setting, the women are engrossed in the house chores. Just imagine a woman is able to do a 2 meter by 2 meter dimension of that hole, and that hole is usually about 3 feet deep, and then you mix this substrate. She can easily grow intensively within this space of 2 meter by 2 meter a lot of vegetables.
Wow.
She can grow lettuce, she can grow tomatoes, and within that space you are able to grow up to about 15 crops. Okay, yeah, you're able to grow about 15 crops within that space. Intensive growing of the crops. So this for me is something that is most useful, even most importantly for women. You don't need to go far, you don't need to struggle with space, and you have your vegetables.
And I think you mentioned neem,
yes,
as one of the components for making this bow garden.
Yes.
And it's interesting how much neem trees we have up here in the north.
Exactly.
There are so many of them growing in the wild, around people's homes. Like, neem is in abundance. And it's sometimes it's a little sad that we haven't really tapped into some of these natural resources that we have up north here. Exactly. There are many things that you can do with neem. Even if it's not just the seeds, but then the leaves of the neem. I remember when we were growing up, we were using neem stalks for as chewing sticks.
Exactly.
But now these days we are all dependent on the toothpaste and the toothbrushes. I'm sure sometimes when you even go back home and somebody offers you a neem stalk as a toothbrush or for cleaning your teeth, you may feel like, oh, why would you give me that? Because I have toothbrush and then I have my toothpaste. But sometimes when I go home, when I go to my hometown, it just brings back a lot of memories. And then I start to realize that the things we didn't like doing growing up are actually the things that are helping people live longer these days. There's one interesting thing I always talk about. I remember my mom would send you, whenever we had visitors, she would send you to walk a distance and go and buy drinks for her visitors. And if you didn't find it at one spot, she would send you to the next spot. And I used to be very pissed that I'll have to walk that long to buy. But interestingly, those are things that kept us fit. Like that was like a good exercise. Walking to church, riding bicycles to school, you know, eating teaser, the guinea corn. Yes, they would offer it to you and you don't want it because the teaser looks red.
Exactly.
It's just mind-blowing that if we are able to at least go back to even maybe quarter or half of some of the things we did when we were growing up, it would help us a lot.
Yes. And this is very important that you hit on. The neem. We have neem in abundance. But look at what we do. We basically have to go and buy insecticides to use on our crops. Okay, neem is an incredible asset, and it's not surprising that when we are doing the bow garden, neem must be part of it. Neem is an effective antidote against nematodes. You have some areas around Garu, etc., that you have tomatoes and peppers sometimes not doing well, and you go to do your checks and it's nematodes. And we have a free resource. So indeed, for most of my innovations, I look how do you use local material to add value, to create opportunities for people. So I agree with you. We have to go back to these things. Sure. So basically, this is what we offer at Echo. But we also train people. If people want to know about green conversions, if people want to know about a closed loop, what we call the circular economy, this is the best place to experience the circular economy. You can experience how food can be turned into a useful product like fertilizer. So the Echo has a lot to offer beyond what I've even mentioned.
How many plots of land is this, if you don't mind sharing?
Okay, so the Echo Clubhouse takes a space of 1 acre.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that's about 4 plots.
Exactly.
Okay. I know much of the fertilizer is done in the ground. But when it comes to the plants, I've seen a variety of plants. Sometimes in gardening or in managing plants, you're always advised to seal them out so that the pests don't spread easily and all of that. How are you able to manage all these plants within this space, including a bar, a kitchen, a restaurant, all of this in 4 plots of land? How are you able to do that, especially when it comes to your plants?
Okay, so this is part of the bigger picture of Echo. How do you integrate different systems and yet you are able to sustain them? If we look at the plants in particular, it's interesting to take note that I even have developed techniques of fighting pests and diseases.
Yes.
Okay, using again these same plants, using things like bentonite clay, using things like what we mentioned, the neem, to take care of diseases. Again, as we talk, new things emerge, new memories about what happens at the Echo emerge. Some of them, they don't hit me immediately because I'm with it all the time. But then at some point it emerges. For example, the secret of this is partly the fertilizer and charcoal, which we call biochar. But also it has to do with what I call the bag gardens or the bagged plants. So something like the fertilizer bags, we make use of it a lot. Something like containers, the 25-liter containers, we make use of these. When we have used our oils, we cut them open, we pierce holes, and we use all of these to grow our plants. Now the thinking is that usually when you have the young plants out there are a lot of challenges, etc. So what you want to do is to build resilience on the plants before they go to the harsh environment.
Okay.
So this is where the waste materials like the bags come in, the fertilizer bags. So we bring the fertilizer bags, we do a mixture of the fermented food waste, charcoal, neem, and proportions of the soil. We build these beautiful substrates that are good for growing plants. And here we now insert seeds. like the pawpaw seeds, like the noni seeds, like the basil seeds, and we start the growth of these crops from the bags. You are able to give them good attention. They are growing in copious amount of soil, and you can grow them for up to about 3 months before you move them to a field. So when we move ahead, you will see how I'm growing lots of pawpaw in waste bags, the fertilizer bags. You can wash them with charcoal, and all kinds of toxins are out, and then you create these substrates, which I will introduce you to. And people who don't have land, even your porches, okay, your veranda, you can grow plants there. You can grow lettuce, you can grow eggplants, you can do incredible things with this. You can grow something like aloe vera, okay, from these bags. You can grow lemongrass from these bags. So I would let you see how this is depicted.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So this is the eco shrine. Sure.
So this is the eco shrine. And it has its own history. By instinct,
it has its
own history.
Okay.
By instinct, I kept it this way, and a place for meditation, because as you have in every situation, there's a reason why you have a compelling feeling that let this be. So this tree, when we were building the echo, those who were the laborers here attempted to kill it, because basically when people are building in Ghana, they want to flatten everything. And it seems to me that development is about flattening, removing every tree, then starting afresh. But then they tried to kill it by cutting, and it started popping out against the wishes that let it be. Then they also attempted to burn it, and then it started to shoot out again. Instead of shooting one bowl, it shot several bowls.
Yeah, I can see that
very well. So you can see that it has up to 7 or more bowls shooting out, and you can see that today it gives the best of shade. So for some reason I decided to keep a little niche around it, and somehow you can feel the peace within it. A lot of birds are here every morning. You can imagine the kind of haven it has become. And personally, if I want to have a quiet time, I am here, and there are many people, including pastors, etc., who want to come and sit here and meditate. You know, so this is a unique space for me, and it's about agreeing with nature. It's about our spirituality connected to nature. That is what I want to depict. Not anything too mystical, okay, but to tell us that our souls are connected to nature, and this is true spirituality in my perspective. I was always thinking to myself, in our arid environment, dry environment, what can we do to ensure resilience of the soils so that you don't have to water all the time? In any case, we don't even have enough water.
Yeah.
And then I had started also with the fermentation pits that were generating the fertilizer. So coincidentally, it came to me that, look, how about you combine your fermented food waste with your biochar, which is the charcoal you see over there, alongside neem leaves, which fight pests, nematodes, etc. How about if you incorporate this into one and create a sunken bed where you would grow plants that will be very strong, very productive, but also which will be resilient against pests and diseases. So this is what resulted from this thinking. So it is possible to replicate these where the soils are arid. Imagine when we had the dry spells. Indeed, I said to myself that had people developed some of these pits, the dry spells would have had less impact, especially for people who are growing things like vegetables, etc. Because indeed, if you water here once, it is enough to keep this place moist for the next 2 weeks.
Really?
Yes. If you water it well once, it will sustain the plants for 2 weeks because it's a moisture bed. Beyond that, it is a fertilizer bed. Beyond that, it's a disease control bed, all in one. Okay. And anytime you have harvested these crops, you can decide to put mulch on it so nothing grows on it, because remember that even grass seeds or weeds will love this same substrate. So you can now cover it until you want to plant again. So this is a typical what we call soil conservation structure, and the name is book garden. And this can be replicated. Women can use this in their backyards as for their kitchen gardens. They don't need to waste water, you know. And for most of my innovations, let's take note. I'm not being biased, but most of my innovations have been tilted towards the support of women, especially rural women. Most of these innovations, like using the kitchen waste, they have control over kitchen waste. They can create fertilizer from the kitchen waste. They can even move a step further by adding value, drying this fertilizer and then combining it with the charcoal from their fireplaces, and then boom, they have a fertilizer for sale. Okay, they can also use it to create some of these little enclaves, and they can quickly grow very high, intense, productive gardens from these structures. So these innovations, most of them are to satisfy the woman folks first. Yeah. And I'll show you some things that are incredible. So this system,
is this the liquid fertilizer
system? This is the liquid fertilizer here. We'll open it. It will smell a bit, but we'll open it.
Oh,
and
no
see.
problem.
Okay. So this is the fermentation pit. As you see, it has a small opening. The fermentation pit is about 6 feet deep. You can do it further down, and it's about 4 feet wide, and it's able to take at least a ton of waste. Now the reason why it is put in the ground and we cover it is that we want to create an enabling environment for the bacteria. So we would use what we call bacteria to inoculate the food waste that we put in this pit, in this pit. And what I hold here is the inoculant, or if you want, you can call it the bacteria. If you want, you can call it the bioenzyme. So this is bacteria that is dormant. Once you throw this into the pit, it inoculates the food waste and speeds up the process of conversion into useful material, which is our fertilizer. Unlike the usual compost that you actually do not activate it and you basically turn it, it's laborious. This you don't need to turn. So imagine you just come and put in waste, you throw in a bit of the inoculant, and then you close it and you are gone. You don't turn, you don't do anything. The next day you have waste, you bulk the waste, you bring it in again, you throw your waste in, and then you charge it with your inoculant or your bacteria, and it's as simple as that. You go to sleep. Indeed, when this pit is filled and it doesn't smell, there's no stench.
Yeah, I can't smell anything here.
Because it's fermented. It's fermented material, and there's activity ongoing every now and then. And now when the pit is filled, all you do is that you can use soil to cover it, and then you let it mature over a period of about 1 week, 2 weeks, and you're done. Now, most importantly, this ends the first stage where you have your solid fertilizer. But the question now comes, can we have something beyond the solid fertilizer? Yes, indeed, we can. We can get foliar spray, or we can get liquid fertilizer to drench soils and enrich the soils. So after you have obtained your solid fertilizer here, that is ready to use, you could, on the other hand, convert to liquid fertilizer so that you can spray it on your crops. So the next stage we move to is the creation of the liquid fertilizer. So here I have a 200-liter drum that contains the solid material. So it smells highly fermented. Not bad as if it's getting rotten, but it smells fermented. A strong fermentation smell. Now all you need to do is, if you have 1 kilo of waste that has been fermented, you need 15 kilos or 15 liters of water. You mix it, you stir it every day for about 1 week, and voila, you are ready to drain your liquid fertilizer. Very rich liquid fertilizer. So it's a very simple process, and it's as simple as I've explained. Indeed, from the time of starting your fermentation pit and putting in your food waste to creating your liquid fertilizer, it can take you as little as 6 weeks.
Wow.
And you're done. So this is it. So this generates the liquid fertilizer, and this generates the solid fertilizer. And so anybody can do it.
You don't have to wait for 6 months or 1 year to make compost.
You don't have a good reason. You don't have a tangible reason to wait for 6 months. You are unfair with yourself to burden yourself for 6 months to a year waiting for fertilizer. Nobody should go through that. It's injustice to yourself, from my opinion.
You've seen it all for yourselves, and you've heard everything right from the owner of the Eco Club. Eco has amazing things going on here. It's not just a place where you can grab food and drinks. Like I said in the beginning of the video, they have amazing things going here. So many plants, so much greenery, birds, nature. The atmosphere here is just welcoming and cool. If you love nature, I always preach on this channel. I preach a lot about plants. I preach a lot about nature. If you love nature and you happen to be around this area, if you happen to find yourself in Bole, Sola, or even in Damongo, the capital of the Savannah region, and you are looking for a place to just while away time, grab a sumptuous meal made from the locally grown herbs and vegetables from this place, do stop by at the Eco Clubhouse. Trust me, you won't regret it. I have been here several times and I'll keep dropping. So I hope maybe if you find yourself in this area, you drop by and say hello to Mr. Yalbora here and spend time with him, his staff, and this lovely environment. Mr. Yalbora, thank you so much for the time, the energy, and everything, even the things you gifted me, the plants, the seeds that you have given me. I'll go and nurse them, and I hope they don't die on me. I'll plant the seeds and I'll definitely give you feedback. And the products that I got, I'll definitely try them too. I've already tried one, which is the repellent, and oh gosh, he has this amazing repellent I tried yesterday. When I came around, I had some insect bites, and he gave me a repellent that he made. This repellent smells amazing. It smells like a rose garden or a flower garden, let me call it. It smells amazing, and it really helped with the itching on my skin. I already had a bite, so when I applied it, it just calmed down my itching, and I seem to be in good spirits today. So I'll tell you more about these products and then the repellent in another video. So I have tried firsthand his products right here, and I can attest to the fact that they are really good. I'll try the other ones and give you all feedback. So thank you so much for everything and for all the knowledge you have poured on me. I think I'll apply some of them in my own garden, because I have a garden going on which needs some knowledge from here. I'll try it out and I'll definitely give you some feedback. I am most grateful for everything. To you and your family, your wife, your staff, who have been so helpful. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the time. You'll definitely see me around. I'll come back.
Yeah, always welcome.
And what I'll do is I'll always call and make sure you're around.
Yeah, always welcome.
And then I'll drop by. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. I'll share Mr. Yalbora's restaurant details in the description, and any other details that you will need to locate this place in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye bye.